A while ago, I posted 2 videos on Flute Tube that were called Make Difficult Notes Easy and Make Difficult Music Easy. And I have since realized, I hate to tell you this, but I was wrong about trying to make hard things easier. What we need to do is make hard things even harder. Maybe I'm kidding, but maybe I'm really not. You might know already about a very popular way to practice music that is difficult because it's fast. When we have fast music and we want to get it up to full tempo and sound really easy at full tempo, one thing we often do is practice it beyond full tempo. Maybe we take the metronome marking to 105% or 110% of the marking. So if it's 120, we practice up to 132. And then when we go back to the written tempo, just playing it at the written tempo feels very easy by comparison with playing it too fast. That's why I want us to ask ourselves, why is this method of practicing fast music, even faster than it's supposed to go, useful? Why does that help us? And what I'm here to say today is that it's because you take the hardest element of a hard piece of music, which right now we're talking about speed, and you make it even harder. What I'd like to challenge you to do with your practicing in today's video is find the hardest thing. Apply the same principle to your practice in different ways, aside from tempo. Ask yourself when you're practicing a piece and you're stumbling over something, what is it that's making it so hard right now? Is there a way I can isolate that and make it harder still? We want to make it feel when we go back to the original version that it's easy by comparison. I'm going to give you one really good example of a way to apply this principle. But first, if you think this might be helpful, useful information for you or your students, please like this video, please subscribe if you haven't. It's so surprising to me how much it helps when you like or subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Here's the promised really good example of how you can take something that's hard and make it harder still to help in your practice. We're going to look now at the beginning of the Fauré Fantasie. What's hard about this is clearly not speed or fingers, but it's a slow tempo combined with a difficult register when you start. It starts on a B above the staff, it starts slow, and it's hard to get what we need, which is a beautiful sound. We want this captivating sound so that people are hooked and want to listen right from the beginning. But the register can make it difficult. Especially if you're nervous, it's very easy to start pinched, trying too hard to control the sound. So we kind of close our jaw, we lift our tongue, we pinch so that we know that the B will come out at all. So what kind of exercise can we do with this to make sure that every time we start, we'll relax, we'll open up, we'll trust our sound, we'll trust our support, rather than clenching little muscles in our mouth and face, and we'll get a beautiful tone on that B above the staff. What I'd suggest in terms of making this even harder than it is to make the flute register even less friendly than it already is. That's what I think is difficult here. How do we make that even more difficult? Here's what I have my students do. Instead of starting on the B right above the staff, start on the B an octave higher. That's a lot harder to do. Start it soft, get a beautiful open sound on that high B. That is a lot harder to do than starting on the B just above the staff. And after you've done it this way a few times, move it back down to the octave right above the staff. You will feel much more relaxed. It will feel much friendlier. It will feel like, oh, this isn't so hard. And your support will be much more in place from having had to get that fast airstream in the octave above. It feels easy to move this back to the original octave and play as written after you've done it up an octave. But don't just trust me. Try playing this yourself and you'll see it feels so much easier when you move it back to where it's written. By the way, see if you can think of other pieces where this same kind of principle applies, where if you change register, it makes the original written register easier. Perhaps if you have to play something in the middle octave really loud, you could start on the lowest octave loud. Perhaps there are other pieces you can think of that start soft and high, but not all the way up in the top register, and you can move them up. If you think of some examples of other pieces, please leave them in the comments. They would be helpful to any future people who watch this video, and I'd appreciate more good ideas too. One similar idea I can mention to get this thought process going is Shrinks by WC. Shrinks starts on a B flat above the staff. If you put that up an octave as well, like we did with the Fauré, once you move it back down to the octave where it's written, just like the Fauré, it will feel so simple. Up in the top octave, don't let your mouth or your face or your throat pinch. Don't let the sound get forced. Don't let it sound uncomfortable. Rely on the support rather than clenching anything to get control of your sound.